All right, hello guys. Welcome to the 9th of March on a Monday. Okay. Um, so yeah, let's get into the trade recap of today. So let's go in. Economic calendar information. No news whatsoever today. Okay. Now, given a day like this when there is no news, it can be very difficult to catch a trade, or it can be one of those days where you get extremely spontaneous movement. Okay. Today was one of those days. Okay. So let's look at the daily analysis, right? So we see when we open up, we have a Sunday opening gap and we gap down and we take out the range lows of the consolidation, right? That we've been in a daily for like a super long time. Okay. Which is clean. Here we generate an SMT by guys. I don't know if you can see, but if you look into the screen, we have an SMT. Okay. Um, so we gap down and take out the range lows on in Q. Yes, fails to take out its range low, however, that could be fine. In other words, provide for an SMT. The importance here is determining whether price will displace and move lower out of the range. So will it continue lower and reach for other pieces of internal liquidity, or will it sweep, right, reinforcing this bullish SMT and move on higher? Okay. So you can see that the ignoring this candle, the Sunday opening gap, we close below the previous day's candle. Okay, we close below. Okay. Um. So there's two possible things that can happen here, right? We displace even further, targeting a potential weekly bullish gap that you can't see here, but there is a weekly bullish gap, or we sweep this consolidation range and move higher, reaching for external liquidity highs. I don't know if when I speak you can hear my little brother crying in the background or what, but if you can, I apologize. Let's look at the hourly. Okay. Sorry, I had to quickly pause it there because I got the crying got a little bit out of hand. Hourly. Um, Hourly, we just see the Sunday opening gap, right? So we have that liquidity void, right? We have a decent amount of internal liquidity. So we have a 4-hour bearish gap, one on NQ and then two on ES, right? If we do sweep, then these are the areas that we could target for today. Okay, these are the clean targets. This displacement leg has the volume imbalance within the 50% range, right? So what could happen is we reach in and we could displace lower, right? Hence the two scenarios. We either displace lower, okay? So we retrace and we displace even lower, or we just have a reversal and we just move higher, okay? So yeah, it is a Monday, so seeing anything super clear in terms of bias on the high time frames is going to be difficult, okay? The things I'm going to pay attention to is the liquidity void given it's at the equilibrium of the leg, okay, the displacement leg. On the hourly, we can see that we've disrespected a bearish gap and respected a bullish gap. So we just about tap in here and we move on higher. In ES, we get an even cleaner one. We have a gap. We push down into it and we respect and we move higher. Okay. Given that volume imbalance, there is a large bearish gap. So we can see that from here to here is that large bearish gap. Okay. So this is just the fact that price is playing within this area is quite important. Okay. I wanted to continue to spectate and see what price will do in this area. Okay. So let's look at pre-market open. So midnight opening price, okay, we see price moves higher, okay, with no move lower, it just moves straight higher, okay, right? Without any sort of manipulation, okay. London session does not provide anything of importance. London just simply consolidates. We can see a nice clear consolidation, okay. It simply consolidates and it closes. After it closes, do we get a rally? Okay, so post London, right, we get a bit of a rally back. Okay, so from then on, we don't really get a lot of information. One thing I failed to notice, guys, is the clock went forward. No, it went back. Yeah, the clock went back an hour in terms of New York. So the session opened an hour earlier. So for me, the session would open at 2:30 normally. Today, opened up at 1:30. I missed this, and that's completely fine. Okay, it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter when you get into the market. It's the things backing your entry. Okay, you could enter 10 minutes before market closes. I wouldn't recommend it, but you could do that and you can still win, right? It doesn't matter. You don't have to trade exactly at 9:30. You don't have to trade at 9:29. You don't have to trade at 8:24. All those times, okay, they're important time scales, right? I don't know if that's the right word, but it's not a thing to force an entry upon, okay? So this is what I commented. I'm not so I didn't realize the clock's me back for NYC. Therefore, we're over an hour into market open. So as I looked here, I was just doing cardio. I wasn't paying attention. I was just enjoying my cardio session, and I clocked. Wow, it's 10:30. What's going on? However, it's fine. Since then, we've had nothing of importance happen. Okay, nothing of importance. The only thing that we could really see is we sweep out both sides of pre-market open. Okay. We can consolidate an NQ as well as a yes. I'm going to wait for a much clearer move. Since there is zero news and it's a Monday, it could be very likely that we don't get a lot of volatility, therefore consolidate for a lot of today. Okay. Now, here we can see we take out both sides of NQ, right? We take out buy side first as soon as market opens, and we also take out sell side right after. So 2 candles after, one actually. So at 9:35, we take out sell side liquidity. Now, given the fact that we respected this bullish gap and we moved on higher, okay, we could see some form of bullishness. Okay, same thing here. We get an S&T. People might have caught a short here. And they would have been stopped out, right? You'll see later. But the main thing to take away is we went into this area of sell side. Okay, so we take out both sides of NQ with some weakness being highlighted on ES. The 15-minute gap on ES is something I'm looking at in terms of it being respected or disrespected. So this is the 15-minute gap, and I was going to say if we are respecting it, then obviously we can expect to move lower, take out London lows, and maybe even this low. Okay, the overnight session low. If we do disrespect it, well, the next draws, these highs, the volume imbalance being completely filled in, and then obviously those internal liquidity for our bearish gaps. Obviously, we're trading within a range, therefore we cannot expect a lot right now. Hopefully, we do get some movement out of the range with better conviction. Okay. Most recently, what do we get? A bullish SMT. Okay, so we take out this liquidity, right? This resting sell side liquidity, right? Very relatively equal as 1, 2, 3, 4 lows, right? 4 lows just chilling. We get sell side here on the 5-minute, SMT on the 5-minute on NQ. Okay. Most recently out of the range, we get a bullish SMT. These volume imbalances are always key areas in terms of draws on liquidity. Guys, I've noticed this, and I've only been forward testing, back testing for about what, maybe ever since I started this channel. Guys, it happens all the time. These volume imbalances, these liquidity voids are always a magnet. They're always a magnet, no matter what, right? Because why? There's voided what's it called? Voided orders, right? There's so many orders missing, or it's the fact that so many orders were pumped. We have to push it back up to find buyers at that specific area or sellers at that specific area. Okay. If we get a gap form on the 5-minute, so I was looking here, if we have a gap form on the 5-minute, as this candle was pushing higher, I could take a long reaching to those 1-minute highs as well as possibly a runner all the way to the top of the volume imbalance. Okay. Now, price did have that pump higher, and we do get a 5-minute gap. Okay, we get a change to the delivery, and we also get a 5-minute gap. Right. I'm remaining patient and waiting for market to provide a trading opportunity. I would like to see an intermediate low form in which I can take a scalp entry on that leg. Okay, so here, what was I looking for? I was waiting for market to probably retrace back down. Okay, and provide an entry. Okay, here in 8 minutes, we were going to get a 15-minute candle close, which would have formed this gap. Okay, if this gap holds and gets respected, we can expect high time frame bearish gaps being reached, right? So if we pump down, have a little pullback, and we can reach this 4-hour gap. I think that's an hourly gap, but the higher external 4-hour gaps. Okay. Here, obviously not patient enough. We get a bearish SMT, right? People are thinking, oh, we might be able to take a short, but I said, given the market conditions, we can see price continuing higher if this 15-minute gap gets respected. If it gets disrespected, we can see price following a higher time frame narrative, right? Because overall, we look bearish apart from the fact that obviously this Sunday opening gap happens and the sweep occurs. Okay, so given this instant rejection higher, I should have kind of taken initiative to look for longs. Okay, but it's fine. It's completely fine. Where were we? Yep, here. So SMT gets voided, obviously, with some patience. I'm interested in seeing price either wicking that high. Okay, so we either wick through to get a buy side liquidity sweep, or we displace through and get a liquidity grab. Okay, and liquidity run. Now, what does price do? Market continues to push higher, right? Market continues to push higher, and we don't see any gaps being filled in. Okay, we get a small little pullback, but into what? Nothing really apart from maybe a tap back into the volume imbalance. Okay, that's what we can see here. There's a small 5-minute gap. The price is not reached. Okay, so markets continue to push a little bit higher. NQ has completely filled the volume imbalance. ES is yet to do so. Since it was now lunch hour, I doubt a lot will happen. However, you never know. Given the area of the market that we are in, we could see a possible reversal and take out lower time frame internal liquidity at this point. Why? Because once again, the volume imbalance is a magnet of an area, right? So this could be treated as internal liquidity, right? The price goes from external to internal, targets external again, okay? Or targets other areas of external to the upside, okay? Now, I was looking to pay attention to this 5-minute gap here, okay? This 5-minute gap in the volume imbalance to see if it gets respected or not, okay? To me, we went into the 1 minute, bang, look at this clean respect, okay? That is calculated, you know? This doesn't happen for no fucking reason. To me, it looked like it was getting respected, and I was waiting for it to create a 1-minute displacement leg like this, okay? Now, given the backtesting that I've constantly seen, okay, the first gap, okay, within this displacement leg is always the one that gets tapped into. So price reaching here, and then we can expect a move higher, okay? So realistically, I could have had a much tighter stop loss, but I'm glad I didn't because on the 2-minute, we had a gap, okay? So if I actually pull up the thingy here, the trade entry, let me just show you guys. The 2-minute gap was here, right? So let me actually just draw it out for you guys. Bang, bang, bang. Price reaches it and respects it. Okay. So really, I could have had maybe a stop loss here. However, it was a bit of a quick entry in terms of entering, right? I wanted to be safe and have a reasonable stop loss. Where I put it at the this fair value. So we had just about three areas of fair value here. I just put it at the body of the candle. Okay, just to be safe. Obviously, looking at the, was there a gap on the 3-minute? Nope. I could have put my stop loss here and generated a much better R, but that's completely fine. That's just a lesson for next time. Okay, I'm not fussed about it. Yeah, back onto the report. At this point, I get entered. Okay, I get entered, and obviously, I'm anticipating price to move higher at this point. Okay, to even take out this swing high potentially and move into the gap. Okay. Now, the high gets reached. I take off a contract. Okay. I was going to move stop loss to the intermediate low when we get further displacement higher. Okay. So I didn't want to rush it. I still wanted to give price some lenience to move around. Okay. Price continued to push on higher. What did I do? I eventually put my stop loss to break even there. Okay. I was confident to see price not come back down. Okay. But now look, let's look here. Okay. ES is not within any key level, but NQ is. NQ is within a key level. Now, I took another contract off and then put my stop loss to break even. Okay. So it was a risk-free trade now. There was a 5-minute gap that formed within my trade. Okay. As well as NQ. And if I saw price respecting it, then obviously that just provides for further confidence. However, if we inversed this gap, we could see price to continue lower. Okay. And if that's the case, that's fine. I said it would take my runner profits, like as in if we close below, I'll take runner profits. However, I just kept it at break even because it was a risk-free trade. Okay. So what does price do? Price invalidates NQ invalidates its 5-minute gap. ES does not do it yet. We have to wait for the next candle. Okay. Next candle, we close below it, and then when we hit break even. Okay. So lessons learned from today's trade. Show good patience. Okay. So we had that massive move in the beginning, right? That I missed. And I just remained patient. I didn't push anything. I didn't force anything. I was just sat there. I was sat relaxed. I wasn't bugging out over it. Okay. We had a large rally in New York M, which most likely is the entire move for the day, given the lack of news and whatnot. I took a trade that I have seen play out during the backtesting sessions. So we always get that intermediate 5-minute low get respected, and then we get a displacement leg on the 1 minute, a retracement pullback, reach for obviously external liquidity mainly. Okay. On top of this, our bias did continue to stay bullish from the morning manipulation. The higher time frame is obviously bearish, and this could be the move that begins the start of the decline lower. Okay. looking back, waiting to see whether price would respect or disrespect that bearish gap on NQ could have been better decision making. Okay, so waiting to see whether price would respect or disrespect that bearish gap on NQ could. So I'm talking about the high time frame one here. So we see price runs in, okay, and it begins to start moving lower. Okay, had I done this, okay, maybe there would have been a potential setup for me to take a short of this area, right? But obviously we don't know because this is all hindsight. I'm speaking in hindsight, and obviously that's just how it's going to be, right? Um, let's see. This obviously could have been a more sophisticated short if price actually does continue to push lower. I followed my strategy, kept myself calm and collected, and managed my risk accordingly. Okay, which is very good. I'm very proud of this trade. And yeah, let me pull up the actual chart so we can see price runs into the gap here, and boom, we obviously start getting a decline, get a decline. There is a 5-minute gap that gets respected here. I looked to see if maybe that we would have been able to catch an entry of this, but we wouldn't have, right? We just get a large decline lower with no possible with no retracement into a gap, okay, to provide for my entry. Okay. Anything in here? Let's see. Boom, let's actually just see if there's anything here. 1 minute, 2 minute. 2 minute, we have a reach into it. 2 minute, we get a tap into it. Okay. But obviously what I'm looking for is a displacement leg here, right? Right after we get the intermediate high form, right? We get a bullet. Is this a bearish here? It is. Okay, cool. So right here, this could have been a potential entry, right? Actually no, because I'm not looking at it, and that's the wick. I actually can't see shit. There we go. Right, so we see price trade super efficiently for the time being, super efficiently to the downside, right? And is there another possible entry? Well, we see price rally on, right? We see a massive rally. Why? Let me show you. There is a hourly bullish gap, okay? That price retraces back into, which is what caused me to get stopped out, right? We have this massive candle, which stops me out, okay? And that's completely fine. I got my fair share of piece when it comes to trading. I think it was like from here to here. Caught a small move, and that's fine, right? Price completely comes into this hourly gap, takes up lower time from sell side liquidity. Take out this low, nice. And then we get a move on higher, right? What happens here? Boom. We get a displacement leg, we get a respect of it. But then obviously, you know, you can't catch a trade here, right? It's difficult. Something here though, look, let's see. Something here is obviously quite difficult. Obviously it would be super cool if there was a trade entry here, but obviously it's not guaranteed, right? Like something here. I'm trying to see if it would have been possible, man, because we get this gap. Okay, on the 5-minute. On the 5-minute. Only love can break your heart. I mean, maybe this 1-minute gap, right? Where in turn your entry would be 26.25. Price taps you in. But now, if you had too tight of a stop loss, aka the one that I want always, right? Ideally, boom, you get stopped out. Okay, and then price would eventually rally on within one fucking candle and reach your take profit, which would be annoying. However, if you had it at a swing low, you could also target for more extreme areas, aka here, right? Which is still an amazing, like this just looks fucking rigged as shit, man. I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah, price can obviously do that. Like, why not? There's like a potential short entry that we could have as well. This is I think a good example because I saw there's like a 2-minute gap here. We get a change in the state of delivery, bang, we reach our high, and we can maybe expect lower prices now. Okay. Anyway, enough yapping. That's that. I'm probably gonna backtest on my own now for a bit. Just chill, wake up for a little bit, relax, get ready to go shower, and then get to work tomorrow morning. Okay. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys learned something from this. And I'll see you lot for more content maybe tomorrow. All right. I mean, definitely tomorrow because you're getting a trade recap. Okay, bye.